Salt Lake City is one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. Actually, the state of Utah is one of the fastest growing. Salt Lake City has some unique facts. So on this video, I'm going to cover some awesome things about Salt Lake City. Some of the things you might shake your head to and think, what were they thinking? Some things might be a little bit off the wall, maybe. Anyways, let's cover some of those topics and get after it right now. And welcome to the Living in Utah channel. I'm Mike Gallagher, a local real estate agent in the area. And if you want to learn everything about the state of Utah, you've come to the right channel. If this is your first time on my channel, you may consider tapping that subscribe button down below and hitting that bell notification. YouTube will send you an alert every time I release a new video. Apart from making videos, I also help people buy or sell real estate. So if I can be of any assistance, I'll put my contact information on the screen. It'll also be located in the show notes. So Salt Lake City uses a grid system when it comes to the streets. And what I mean by that is you have streets that are north. You'll have an address that'll be like 22 north, 1400 east. So you have to go up to the north and then over to the east. This was originally established for the farmers. With all the farmland that used to be in the area, it was an easy way to identify different parcels of land. It is a little complicated to use, but years ago I found it very easy, long before we had GPS navigation in our vehicles and on our phones. I just had to go north, south, east, or west, and I knew eventually you would go to that particular address. Did you know that Salt Lake City is widely becoming the next Silicone Valley in an area located just south of Salt Lake City? Pretty much from South Salt Lake towards Provo, Utah is an area that we refer to as like Thanksgiving Point. Many high-tech firms have moved in to the area and establishing many jobs in the tech sector, the computer sector, some of the biggest companies that you will find in the world, multi-million-dollar buildings, all being located in this central area just north of Provo and south of Salt Lake City. I have another fun fact for you. Are you a movie fan? The movie Sandlot and also the movie Dumb and Dumber were filmed right here in Salt Lake City. Some of us grew up watching these particular movies. Did you know that the movie The Sandlot was filmed in the Rose Park, Glendale area of Salt Lake County? And the original baseball field that was in the movie is still there today, even with the wooden dugouts. Now, if you're a fan of the Dumb and Dumber movie, the apartment that Harry and Lloyd shared was located in downtown Salt Lake City on 300 East and 200 South. Another fun fact, Utah has the greatest snow on earth, and not just because we put it on the license plate. There is some meaning behind it. We have the perfect combination of temperature, humidity, and frequency of snowstorms. This makes the powder very fluffy. It actually has a snow density of 8.5, which means there's 8.5% moisture in the snowpack. This is very unique to the state of Utah. Did you know that the very first KFC restaurant, the fast food chain, was located right here in Salt Lake City? Yes, that is true. So Colonel Sanders, when he was first starting out, he gave the first franchise to a friend of his by the name of Pete Harmon. Mr. Harmon opened a location at 3900 South State Street in Salt Lake City. That location is still there today. It is the first official KFC restaurant. Are you a basketball fan? If you're familiar with the Utah Jazz that plays in downtown Salt Lake City, they were originally from New Orleans, but in 1979 they moved to Salt Lake City. They were the New Orleans Jazz. Utah kept the name and, well, the second half of the name, and called the basketball franchise the Utah Jazz back in 1979. Another fun fact, State Street, which is a major street that runs from north to south, In Salt Lake City, back in 1983, it was totally flooded. That particular year, we had a lot of snowpack, a lot of rain throughout the springtime. The temperatures rose really fast during the springtime. It all melted, come down the mountainside, and flooded State Street. Many people were out there filling sandbags to try to control the water back in 1983. As we're talking about water, did you know Salt Lake City was totally flooded with water in prehistoric times? Yes, the Great Salt Lake went all the way up to the east bench of the mountain. Salt Lake City was covered in water during the prehistoric times. Just west of Salt Lake City, we have the Great Salt Lake, a large body of water. Were you aware that you can actually float in the Great Salt Lake due to the salt content? There is 4.5 billion tons of salt in the Great Salt Lake. Are you a fan of Jello? Well, in Salt Lake City, we consume more Jello per capita than anywhere else in the world. Yes, in the world. Utah is basically the Jello capital of the world. We consume a lot of Jello. You could almost say that Jello is the state's favorite snack. It's very popular with members of the Mormon Church. If you're ever in downtown Salt Lake City, we have a building called the Walker Center. On the top of the Walker Center, you will see some big lights. It reports the weather. So, if the color is blue, it means clear skies. If it's flashing blue, it means cloudy skies. If it's a solid red, that means rain. If it's flashing red, that means snow. It's a true story. You can actually do away with your phone. And my last fun fact of Salt Lake City is the home of the LDS Church. The world headquarters for the LDS Church is located in downtown Salt Lake City. The pioneers settled in Salt Lake in 1847.